More than half of all young adults live with their parents, the highest level in modern American history. As the chaotic events of 2020 unfolded, a large number of teens moved in with their parents, which maximized the percentage of Americans aged 18-29 living with their parents recorded so far. Undoubtedly, the collapse of the economy has particularly hit young adults. About 59 million Americans have filed unemployment claims in the past 24 weeks, and low-wage workers have been disproportionately affected by this job loss tsunami. Needless to say, young adults traditionally make up a large part of our low-wage employees, and now many of the really difficult times are being forced to go back to their mothers and fathers for support. According to a newly published report by the Pew Research Center, 52% of all young adults in this country currently live with their parents. A new report by the Pew Research Center found that a majority of young adults, 52%, lived with one or both of their parents in July. Pew's analysis of monthly Census Bureau data notes that this is higher than any previous measurement. For the purposes of this report, Pew defined a young adult as anyone between the ages of 18 to 29. At this point, 26.6 million young people live with their parents, although Pew suspected the level might have been higher during the Great Depression of the 1930s. We had not seen a number that high. Before 2020, the highest measured value was in the 1940 census at the end of the Great Depression, when 48% of young adults lived with their parents, says the report published Friday. The peak may have been higher during the worst of the Great Depression in the 1930s, but there is no data for that period. In any case, what we are witnessing now is extremely worrisome. Many tend to view teen living with their parents as a lazy or inefficient, but that's not necessarily the case. Many of them were working extremely hard to achieve it on their own. And as Jeremy Sobko put it, nobody wants to live at home with mom and dad. For the most part, nobody wants to be living at home with mom and dad. Jeremy Sobko, CEO of Nation Lending Corporation, a mortgage lender, told the Huffington Post. It's a difficult situation that's been exacerbated by the pandemic, and it may take years, if not the better part of a decade, for younger demographics to recover and be financially stable enough to leave home. And many parents may not be overjoyed with their adult children living at home. At this point, however, we need to understand that times have changed fundamentally. As the economic conditions get tougher, we will see more and more situations where multiple generations live under one roof. And there is nothing wrong with that. It is a relatively modern phenomenon that each generation lives separately in different houses, and it has been made possible by our incredible wealth. But as the economy continues to collapse, survival will come before convenience. All over the nation, family will have to take care of family. None of us can take care of everyone who is suffering there, but if we'll all look at our family members, it will make a huge difference. If you own a home, you will need to be prepared to bring your family members and extended family with you who are going through difficult days. If you don't have a home, you need to be humble enough to seek help from other members of your family or extended family whenever you need it. I know many people might not like what I'm proposing, but we must realize that the old rules are no longer valid. We are in the middle of the worst economic collapse in modern times, and things are going to get much worse. Anyway, some of the economic figures we see are hard to believe because they are so bad. For example, it is currently estimated that 63% of all restaurants in New York are likely to close by the end of the year. On Thursday, the New York State Restaurant Association published the results of a survey that found the state's restaurants are in need of financial support from the government after months of closures during the coronavirus pandemic. According to the survey, 63.6% of restaurants in New York said they are likely to close by the end of the year without a relief package, and only 36.4% said they are likely or somewhat likely to remain open. Of the 63.6% that are likely to close in 2020, 54.8% said they will close before November, the Restaurant Association found. It is painfully clear that without financial assistance, the restaurant industry in New York State could collapse. Melissa Fleshood, the association president and CEO, said in a statement, "These recent survey results illustrate just how dire the financial situation has become for most restaurants, and it shows how critical it is that elected officials understand the urgency of the situation." 63%. How bad must things get before the economic optimists admit that we have a complete and utter economic disaster, and the civil unrest continues, plaguing major cities all over the country? On Sunday, President Trump tweeted a video of a rebel in Portland who accidentally set himself on fire with a Molotov cocktail. President Donald Trump ridiculed ongoing protests in Portland by tweeting a video of an activist accidentally setting himself on fire with a Molotov cocktail. These are the Democrats' peaceful protests. Sick, Trump penned on Sunday as he retweeted a clip of the activists and fellow protesters desperately trying to extinguish the blaze engulfing his pants. This is the kind of inner turmoil I've been warning for years, and it's here now. There have been violent protests in Portland for 100 consecutive nights, and this series will not end anytime soon. And now the presidential election is less than 2 months away, and many fear it will take things to a whole new level. In the coming months, things will get really crazy, and things won't go back to what they used to be. When things get really difficult for you personally, you may need to move to your parents or other members of your extended family. On the other hand, if you're in good financial condition, you may need to be the person who accepts members of your family or extended family. The future will not be easy to dodge, and at some point, we will all need someone to lean on. Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.